Hello everyone, welcome along to another video. John here, nice to see you all. Today we're going to be having a look at the BB box. It's a box of the pentatonic scale which BB King used, and I'll show you kind of how to use it and how you can add some what we call colour tones to your playing, and I'll tell you how we come up with these colour tones. So first of all, let's have a look at the scale. We're in A minor, really. So the BB box is shape 3 of the pentatonic scale. So shape 3, if you play A minor and you count up 3, 1, 2, 3, the note you arrive at is that D note. So if we go up here to a D note on the 10th fret of the E, you end up with this scale shape. So that's 10, 12 on the E, 10, 12 on the A, 10, 12 on the D, 9, 12 on the G, 10, 13 on the B, 10, 12 here on the high E, all right? And that is really kind of you could say the BB box. Although when you look at the scale here, most people, when they kind of refer to the BB box, they're kind of talking about this shape here, because he kind of used that scale a lot. Really good. Now, in terms of this scale, when you're playing it, I think when people say the BB box, what they kind of mean is things like this. Now, what we're doing here, as you may have noticed, is first of all we learn this scale, don't we? This, and you think, right, that's really good. And then you see people doing this kind of stuff. And you think, well, where does that all come from? Because, you know, I know this shape, but what you played there was nothing at all like that shape. So let me try and help you to make it a bit more bluesy and show you which notes you can add. All right, now I did a video about thirds, sixths and ninths. So if you haven't watched that, what does it all mean? You can watch that video, but I'll try and recap here really quickly. Now, when we're playing this scale, we want to add some other notes to make it sound a bit more exciting. And where do those other notes come from? Well, they come from the major scale. So if you know this do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Sorry, bad singing, but this is the A major scale. So it's 5, 7, 9 on the low E, 5, 7, 9 on the A, 6 to 7 on the D string. All right. And now these notes here, you have A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And if you count these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8 is the octave, that's another A. What we can do, there's some very common notes that we can add to this scale to make it sound quite cool. So let's have a look at one which is very, very common, which would be the major third. So now, as I play through this shape, I'm going to stick in this position just for now. So here's an A and here's a C. Now, if we add a C sharp, which is that one there, that can make it sound very good in the blues. We normally take a C and bend it to a C sharp, something like this. So you get that type of thing. Now that's the major thirds. That means 1, 2, 3. So that's the third note from the major scale. If it was minor, you'd move it back 1. So we're really going from minor there. When people say mixing major and minor pentatonic, that's the basics of what they mean. They're taking that minor third and turning it into a major third. And you can mix the two and they sound really good. So if you had, so you've got something like that moving along. So that's pretty good. So that's the major third. All right, what else can we do? There's another note which is added, and if I play a little something, Now, what did I do there? I added this note. What is this note? This note is a B note, so it's kind of one up from here, from the A note, from the root. Okay. So what is that? Well, this note is sometimes called the ninth. I know you might be thinking it's the second, but if we play the major scale, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we continued the major scale, so that's an A. That note, if you carried on counting, would be called the ninth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Very good. That note is a B, and that's a really good tone to add. And B.B. King used to use that a lot, you know, in his playing. So that's a really good one to do. So far we've got the third, the minor third you can turn into a major third by. And then you could add perhaps a ninth. Alright, so there we go, there's the ninth. Gives it a nice kind of happy feeling, that the ninth, doesn't it? Another one we can do is one called the sixth. I've used it a couple of times here. So let's see what the sixth is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is that note? It's an F sharp note. So can you see, you really have to know your notes for this, because you might be able to count up to 6, and that's very, very good. But you need to know what that note is and where it is on the fretboard. So here's an F sharp, but in this kind of area here, there it is here. So if I add that now, so can you see there's an F sharp? That makes it really nice. The scale, this BB box, is that. We'll come to that note in a minute. So you can have these types of strings. So there we go, that's adding the 6. So we've added there the minor third going to the major third. Ninth. And then to the 6th. All right. So another one which is very, very common, and you'll know this already, is the blues note. That is a flat 5. So what I'm talking about there, the flat 5 from the major scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flat 5, move back 1. So that's an E flat going to a D. So you have this. You hear that a lot, don't you? That type of thing. So that's E flat D. So where could we play it here? Well, here's an E. So now we could have a line like. So I'm doing a bit more kind of BB King like, isn't it? So that's a really good one. Another thing you can do with this note is you can bend it to another note, which we'll come to now, which is in this scale, which is a G note. What is a G? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's what we call the major 7. You can flatten the 7 by moving it back 1. What does that note become? It becomes a G note. So when you're in A, there's your G note, and that's in that BB box anyway. Okay, so getting back to this note, we can take this note, this E, and bend it there, and you hear this a lot. So can you hear how it's starting to kind of come together now? Because I'm bending this note to the flat 7th. Now I'm going to go down chromatically, so down the blues scale. And then I bent that to a major third, bent this 9th up to a minor third, to the C, and then I use that 6. So that's good. And again, you know, you could take this A note, couldn't you, and bend it a minor third. They sound quite good if you do those with that type of thing with your fingers. So you can do that type of thing. So there's some intervals for you. So you go from, you know, on the guitar where you think, oh, I want to get out of this box. You know, I'm just playing this box. You get to the point where you've got so many options, like adding the third, adding the ninth, adding the flat five, adding the sixth, adding the seventh. There's so many options after a while, it boggles your mind, you know. So just to recap, what we're doing here is we're taking this BB box and we're just kind of focusing on this shape, and we're adding the color tones, which are the major third, the sixth, the ninth, the seventh, and the flat five. And we're kind of mucking about with that. So, you know, you could start here on the A. And I'm kind of, every time I play, I'm just changing those color tones. If I kind of play it really straight, you'll hear what I mean. It's so it's all right, isn't it? This is just a scale on its own. Now, don't be afraid to use that area of the neck too, the low area, because we've been focusing up here. But you can also add all those color tones, like the, you know, the major third, there's a C. So, and whenever there's a gap like this, you can fill it in. There, what did I do there? I went back to the G note, A to G, instead of going, I went back there. So all these notes, you can use all those same color tones up there. So for example, so there is your F sharp again. So it's really is knowing your fretboard really well and knowing your notes. It opens up a whole, you know, kind of palette of ideas for you. And just remember, when someone starts to talking about sixths and ninths, they're talking about from the major scale. So if we're in A, it's the sixth from A major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If they say it's the flat 7, you play the major scale again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Flatten it. But you need to know what those notes are. So when you're playing, so as you're playing, you know, you can identify, oh yeah, that's the third. It takes a bit of time, but anyway, there we go. Hope that makes sense for some color tones and the BB box. Have some fun with that. See you in the next video.